As always, I'm going to give you step-by-step instruction on how to get a likeness of Iron Man. But after the steps, I'm going to try to do something special. I'm going to teach you how to incorporate charcoal and fixative into a drawing so that you can layer it like a painting. This video will be a little longer than usual, but it will be packed with great information. Grab your pencils and some drawing paper. Let's begin. Step 1. Make 4 lines that leave 3 even spaces in between the lines. The space between lines 1 and 2 will be the forehead. The space between lines 2 and 3 is the distance of the nose. And the space between lines 3 and 4 is from the bottom of the nose to the chin. Step 2. Make the outlines for the eye sockets and the bottom of the nose. Notice where they fall on the lines. Step 3. Add the beard. Notice that it is slightly thinner than the width of the eye shapes. Step 4. Add the line for the mouth and add the mustache. Step 5. Add the side of the face. Step 6. Add the eyebrows. Step 7. What do you call a deer with no eyes? No-eye deer. Sorry, couldn't resist. But Iron Man has 2 eyes. Observe the rainbow shapes and add the eyes. Step 8. Add the forehead. Step 9. Add the shape for the hair. It's kind of banana-shaped. Step 10. Oh, look! 2 more banana shapes. Step 11. Add another banana shape with a thingy. Step 12. Iron shoulder pads are so in this year. Add them to your drawing now. Step 13. Add the metal thingies, or whatever they're called. Step 14. Add more metal thingies. My guess is that they're made of iron. So welcome to the shading part of my video, and I'm going to do a slightly different format today. Yeah, you might have noticed that there's 2 little things at the top. One is the top one, right by the picture of Iron Man, is if you mess up, I want you to click that, because you've put all of this work in and you've gotten to this point, and we don't want you to have to lose that. And I've got a good solution for you if you feel you mess up on the shading, and you can just click on that top button if you feel that you mess up. And the second is a second link right below that. It's the one with the helmet, is a shading tutorial, and it focuses more on pencil, but charcoal and pencil have their similarities. Let me speak about that, actually, to start off our video. I mean, when you use a charcoal pencil, which is the orange pencil that I'm using, yeah, you're working with lines, and you know, there's a familiarity to creating with lines, and that's why in most of my tutorials I use pencil and I break things down into shapes and show you lines. But think about this: if you use a paintbrush, or if you use a block of charcoal, a stump of charcoal, you have to think in terms of masses, and it can be really valuable. For one, it can save you time. Also, I mean, it doesn't make you as dependent upon the edges. And if you think about it, yeah, there are edges to shapes, but really, to build the tones in shapes, you know, it's more helpful, in my opinion, rather than cross-hatching, which is what you've seen me teach time and time again. Rather than cross-hatching, to you know, to use the side of a piece of charcoal and fill in masses, or use a paintbrush and fill in masses. Dip your brush in paint and, you know, get an entire shape instead of the border of the shape, the perimeter of a shape, like you do with the pencil. So let's talk about the properties of charcoal versus graphite. charcoal spreads a lot easier. You could move it around the paper a lot easier than you can with graphite. Graphite will stay down, charcoal will not. So if you leave a imprint with your hand, let's say that you put your hand down on an area that you shaded, you're going to pick up some of that charcoal. Whereas with graphite, graphite's on the inside of a pencil, by the way, if you didn't know. With graphite, you're going to get a smudge on your hand, and yeah, it's going to smudge it a little, but it's not going to move the same way. So that's important to keep in mind. I'll give you a preview of what's coming, and I'm going to spray fixative on top of the charcoal, and the reason being is it's going to freeze everything. It's going to prevent that charcoal from coming up. So once we have a good set of tones, once we get a good base tone in, then we freeze it, and you can still pull a little bit with your eraser, eraser after it's frozen, and you can definitely add more charcoal on top of it, so you could get those dark masses in there. And you need the fixative in order to freeze it. By the way, when I say freeze it, I mean it's like a dried layer of paint, so that's important to keep in mind. And it kind of gives you a new tool in your toolbox that you can use. And really, I mean, why limit yourself? Why just use pencil? Why just use paint? I never understand when people are like, oh, I'm a sculptor. Well, you're limiting yourself. You know, use what's out there. Art is about being expressive. I know that these step-by-step videos do not sound expressive at all, but, you know, they're a means to teach an artistic vocabulary so that people can be expressive. And you need to learn a variety of tools. You need to experiment. That's the bottom line right there. So let's dissect the image, and I'm not lying. You guys have your work cut out for you. This was a challenge for me, and it's going to be a challenge. But, you know, if you're up for the challenge, keep going. That's the only way that you get better. Bite off more than you can chew, and you'll continue to get better. And remember, my gift to you guys, if you mess up, hit that link up top. I know I'm a broken record, but it really will work for you. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the tones. You got some light tones on the both sides of the face. The right cheek, the one on our left side, is pretty light, and the one, his left cheek, the one on our right side, is, wow, very complex. You see all sorts of different tones right there, and if you could nail that, you've nailed the whole entire thing. But let's start to compare. You have, I would say that the forehead area above that left cheek is pretty much the average tone. So we could keep that in the back of our mind and say, all right, all of the tones in that area, if you put them all together, they would mix to be about where the forehead is. And you see darker tones, you see lighter tones, you know, than what's on the forehead. But that's something that always helps me, just so that if I find that neutral area, to compare to a really complex area. That's something that helps me. The hairline is somewhat sharp, but the rule with hairlines, it's going to be soft, so we want to make sure to keep that area soft. You've probably seen me use a paintbrush numerous times with the pencil. You're going to see me use a paintbrush with this too, but with different effects. And the same thing with the blending stump. It's going to have a different effect because it's going to be so easy to move. Right there, I'm putting in my first indications of highlights, and you know, we can do that with the eraser. But I'm going to teach you a cool trick later with the fixative and the charcoal. That's going to be what we're kind of like going at, what I'm aiming at teaching you from this video. You know, how you could build up those super dark tones that you saw from the intro. It's okay to mix graphite with charcoal, but keep in mind that one is super shiny and one is really dark and matte. So it's just a little bit extra blending that you have to do, but the two will mix together. And you'll find if you do the graphite over the charcoal, it will help you keep the charcoal down. So it's almost like you're doing what the fixative is intended to do, you know, by keeping it down. Um, I'm not done with the face, but just for the sake of moving around and like really developing the image at the same pace everywhere. I'm moving on to the body, and you have some extreme lights, and for the most part, you see some darks there. So I'm using a stick of charcoal right now, which I snapped off, and I'm just using like a little, the tip of a stick of charcoal. It's not a point, but I'm using the side of it, and it's about as thick as the last digit on one of my fingers. And I'm using the side of it to kind of like put in the basic tones, and when I want to go darker, that's when I use either the edge of that charcoal or the charcoal pencil, and that's what I'm doing. And you see the creases in there, and I'm softening it with the paintbrush. You're going to see me use the eraser, and basically any tool that I feel necessary. I'm not going to limit myself. I'm noticing the darks, so I'm putting them in. You'll see my hand hit this in a little bit, and you'll see how movable that charcoal is. It's so different than pencil, but the two go really nicely together. For the record, I was not expecting Iron Man to win. He's never really been in any of the drawings that not drawings, that's the wrong word, the votes that I've had on my Facebook page, and he just appeared there when I checked back, and I think he got something like 45 votes, or 40 votes. It was pretty remarkable. That's how these things go. In the future, I want to I want to continue doing this, and I want to leave it up to you what you want to see me draw. And remember, you're not just limited with the step-by-steps. If you want to see a tutorial on something else, I figure that the best people to listen to is my audience, and I always appreciate it when you guys stop by, and I love your feedback. So keep it coming, keep voting on my Facebook page, and yeah, I'll be listening to you. Um, Nothing really different compared to what we normally do, other than the medium, but I'm trying to differentiate the tones. That takes some time to build up. Just know that that happens with me. Um, you can't rush these things, or else you're not going to get them. Also, I want to stress, don't put too much pressure on yourself to make every little detail look exactly the same, because, like, what's the point? Really, I mean, the photograph exists already. It's your interpretation of it that really is valuable. I think I left that as a comment for somebody today. But, right, just have fun with it. All right, here's what you have been waiting for. We are getting into charcoal mode, and basically I put a solid layer down. I have enough details there, and now I'm thinking of this almost like glazing in painting. Glazing is when you put a thin transparent or translucent layer over the dried layers of paint, and I'm kind of doing that now, except I really don't have any dried layers. I haven't used any fixative yet. It really was um, the combination of the pencil, the graphite pencil and the charcoal pencil that's keeping everything in place. But pretty soon you're going to see me use fixative, so that'll be the first time in any of my videos that I've used something like this. Kind of went back to college. I used that in college last, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do a tutorial on that. I've seen some people asking for charcoal, so I figured it'll be fun. But I really listen to you guys, so, if you're like, no, keep it pencil, I'll do that too. Just, I always check those comments. I try to reply to as many as I can, but, keep telling me in the comment section. That's, that's your way to get my attention. I don't really check the private messages, my Facebook page, and my comments. That's where you can reach me. So I am using the eraser, and I'm kind of carving out the highlights and preparing for that layer of fixative. And using the pencil to get those light tones. Gonna see me use it on the side of the face. That's in highlight. And there we go. That area where the face creases is challenging, right between the eyebrows. Try not to go too dark there. It's an indication of his facial expression, but you don't want to go too dark. You don't want to go overboard with it. Now look at what the background does to the hair. It really defines it, and we're going to even go darker with that. So here's the fixative, and pretty dark now, and what I'm going to do, I am going to not point it directly at my drawing. I am going to spray it over my drawing, and depend on Isaac Newton, depend on gravity, and then I'm going to just let it sit for a little bit. You can't go right into it, because the fixative needs to dry. That's really important to know. But then after it dries, then I go into it again. So here it's dry. Those are magnets in the corner. I just needed something to to keep it down, because once you get the page wet, it starts to curl up. So those four things in the corner are just magnets, and they don't really do anything other than that. I mean, they come together and all that fun stuff, but in terms of drawing, nothing really. Look at the contrast play that you can do. This is what is so cool about charcoal and fixative, the combination of the two. And as you can see, I'm using more, and I wanted to sharpen the area. So I went around the edges and I sharpened it, and then I put another layer of fixative and waited some more time. 15 minutes minimum, half an hour, that'll be fine. And then I'm putting on the finishing touches, or starting to. I used the eraser, and you can actually go right into the fixative, and you'll be able to pick up some of it. But if you draw on top of it, it remains undisturbed. So that's a really cool thing. It's a kind of a powerful tool. I'm also using a Prismacolor white pencil. I love Prismacolor. They are just like so great, and they really give me a way that I could add almost like a layer of paint to my drawings. I mean, I could have done this with the eraser, but I like doing it with Prismas. I'm putting the highlight indication of the hair. Now think about this. This is really important for you young artists out there. Look at what the background does to the hair. You wouldn't even notice that highlight if it was on white paper, and you really wouldn't even notice, the different tones in the face if it wasn't if it wasn't for the charcoal in the background. So keep that in mind. If you really want to have that contrast play, you have to, you have to darken the background. So we're putting the finishing touches on Iron Man, and it's still got a little bit to go, but I want to say early, ask me questions. I've never really done this with the with this medium before in terms of teaching you, so I want your feedback on this. It's important to me. Are you understanding this? Is there something better that I could have done to teach this? So I'll be reading, and I'm hoping to see some video responses, or you can post the pictures to my Facebook page. I know you heard that one coming, but I try to reply whenever somebody shows me a picture of their work. I always try to reply. It might not be right away because I got a really, really busy life, being a teacher, and also doing YouTube on the side, having a family, and all that fun stuff. But it's good, and I really enjoy doing it. So I just want to be helpful, and yeah, I hope that you found the information that I gave you in this tutorial beneficial. And if you have more questions, like I said before, just leave it in the comment section of the video, and I'll do my best to answer it. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm putting on the finishing touches with the Prismacolor pencil. A little bit more with the charcoal, and we are about done. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks.